a deep breath and sat back down. My parents and Ava exchanged confused looks. Mom's fingers were nervously tapping on her Hermes bag. Mr. Smith opened the second folder and cleared his throat. This is a codicil to the will that Thomas Harrison signed last December, 6 months before he passed. He paused, making sure we were all listening. It clearly states that certain provisions in the previous will are hereby superseded. The lawyer's gaze landed on me with something resembling gentle respect. To my grandson Liam, he read, his voice echoing in the quiet room. You are the only one who ever understood the value of my life's work. While others only saw price tags in wood, you saw its soul. Mom made a sharp inhaling sound. Therefore, Mr. Smith continued, I bequeath to you, Liam Harrison, my grandson, full ownership of Harrison Traditional Woodworking, including the business name, intellectual property, equipment, and the 5 commercial properties located in downtown. The room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. What? Dad finally burst out. That little workshop. Mr. Smith ignored him. According to independent business valuation, he continued, his voice growing more firm, the total value of these assets, including brand value and goodwill accumulated over the past 50 years, is estimated at $18 million. Additionally, all properties are free of any mortgages. My legs felt weak. 18 million, Grandpa's workshop. This can't be right, Mom screamed, jumping up from her chair. That rundown shop. Those dusty old tools. You must have made a mistake. Ava had turned pale. But the Maple Drive house, that is just a regular rental property. Mr. Smith's lips curved slightly. Miss Harrison, 4482 Maple Drive Ave is indeed a nice property, but Harrison Traditional Woodworking is an iconic brand that serves 5-star hotels and private collectors. Your grandfather was a master craftsman. He just stayed humble about it. He turned to me. Liam, you are inheriting more than just wealth. You are inheriting a legacy. Thomas wanted you to continue the business with everything he taught you. Dad started laughing. A harsh, fake sound. Well, this is quite a twist. But listen, Liam, you are clearly not equipped to manage such an enterprise. We'll help you sell it off. You can invest the money properly. David, Mr. Smith cut him off, his voice like steel. The terms are very clear. Liam cannot sell any assets before turning 25. And, he added, his eyes sweeping over my parents, Thomas specifically stated that under no circumstances should these assets be managed or controlled by Patricia, David, or Ava Harrison. In fact, he wrote specifically. He looked down at the document. My dear son and daughter-in-law only understand price, not value. They are not to lay a finger on any of it. Mom looked like she'd been slapped. I sat there, speechless, not because of the sudden wealth, but because of Grandpa's foresight. He'd seen how things always were. He saw my worth when my parents were blind to it. He didn't just give me a month later, I stood in Grandpa's my workshop. The familiar scent of wood surrounded me like a comfortable old jacket. After the lawyer's reading, there had been heated arguments, angry phone calls, even tears. But I held my ground. It was the first time I'd fought for something that was mine. I opened Grandpa's old safe and found not just legal documents, but a thick leather-bound book titled Vision and Plans. On the first page was his familiar handwriting. Liam, if you are reading this, my plan worked. Don't think I did this despite your parents. I did this for you, because you have something they'll never understand, the ability to create things that last. Your sister got money. She'll use it to buy things. But you got the tools to build something. Now, get to work. Tears blurred my vision. He knew all along. The following months were challenging. My parents tried to offer advice, and Ava pretended to be happy for me while complaining her trust fund needed careful management. But I stood firm. I hired Jerry, Grandpa's old assistant, who taught me the business side. We updated the website, started showcasing our craft on social media, and orders began pouring in. One afternoon, while I was sanding a mahogany table, the doorbell rang. It was Ava. She stood in the doorway, dressed in heels and a silk dress that looked utterly out of place in the sawdust-covered environment. Mom and Dad are still upset, she said, stepping carefully inside as if afraid to dirty her shoes. They think you were brainwashed. What about you, Ava? I asked, not stopping my work. What do you think? She was quiet for a moment, watching my hands move over the wood with steady confidence. I think, she hesitated. Grandpa left everything to you because he knew you'd stay here. There was a note in her voice I'd never heard before. Respect. Want to look around? I offered. She looked surprised, then slowly nodded. I gave her the tour, explaining the characteristics of different woods, showing her the intricate joinery our grandfather had designed. To my surprise, she actually listened. He was smart, wasn't he? She said softly, running her fingers over an inlaid border. He gave me the one thing I never knew I wanted. What is that? A lesson. She gave a wry smile. Money can buy a lot of things, Liam, but it can't buy this. She looked around the workshop, at the half-finished furniture and tools gleaming in the light. This is real. When she left, there was less arrogance in her posture. Maybe, just maybe, there was hope. A year passed. Harrison Traditional Woodworking was more successful than ever. We blended traditional craftsmanship with modern designs, building a loyal clientele. I even taught weekend classes at a design institute, sharing everything Grandpa taught me. On a crisp fall day, I received a letter from Mr. Smith. Inside was an old photo of Grandpa standing in front of the workshop, smiling broadly. On the back was written, "The greatest creation of all is building your own life." That evening, I locked up the workshop and looked up at the stars. I imagined Grandpa up there, nodding in approval. He didn't give me an easy path. He gave me my own path, and in the end, that was worth more than any inheritance. I started my truck and drove off into the night, peace in my heart, my hands steady on the wheel, ready to build my tomorrow, one creation at a time.